Hello, hello, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be listening. This is Yonks, and we're hosting our office hours here for the very first time at the Inglewood Public
We're hosting
Library.
our office hours here for the very first time at the Inglewood.
And I was getting some feedback from the video that queued up on my screen there. So with me on the Zoom is Amy and Tyler, and they are regular participants in all the things that we build. And with me in person here is Trish representing Drivers Co-op. Myself and Christian had a great conversation with Min Sung Ji from the Drivers Cooperative, who is helping launch Drivers Cooperative here in January of 2024. And myself, as a driver that's done over 12,000 trips on Uber and Lyft since 2016, I'm very excited about having a cooperatively owned platform alternative. One of the things, and I don't, how long do you currently drive yourself, Trish?
I've been driving for about 2.5 years for both Uber and Lyft.
Okay. And so you wouldn't remember, but there was actually another platform that was operating here in Colorado called HeroX. So that's something that you might want to write down and make a note of, because they had some really cool aspects, and I don't know what it looks like as far as from the Drivers Co-op, like the app and stuff and the features, but I'm excited to learn more about Drivers Co-op. So one of the things with our office hours, this is really a format that's more geared for whoever shows up to kind of ask some questions, and it's not as a structured agenda as we normally run in our working groups. And so anyway, I will go ahead.
Well, Jason, since the rest of us weren't on the call the other day, why don't you or you and Trish both kind of go over what Drivers Co-op is and how it works and kind of fill us in?
Drivers Co-op, this kind of whole idea started in New York with New York City taxi and limo drivers. There was a community organizer there. His name's Eric Foreman, and he wanted to see if people could, if drivers wanted to organize and maybe work on their own platform and get off of Uber and Lyft. And it turned out a ton of people did. They were able to raise some funds, and they have a developer team up there. We were able to build our own app from the ground up, which is amazing. And they launched on demand back in May, but they've been operating since about 2019. And we're looking to be the second state here in Colorado. I found out about this movement and everything over the summer. We had to get a couple of laws changed so that we could come into this transportation industry as a TNC, just like Uber and Lyft do. That's when they match riders to drivers through a digital application where there's no, like dispatcher in between kind of thing. That there's a lot of different rules on that kind of stuff. So in January, we'll be able to get our licensing and get started here. So the app's already built. We're actually working on beta testing right now, just being the second state here and how that works differently than it does in New York. We've been onboarding drivers for a couple of months now and doing orientation sessions to teach people about worker co-ops. Because the great thing about us is, and being a part of the co-op, besides we own the app, so, we can kind of set pricing here differently than other states, but the rider experience is the same for everyone, just like it is for Uber and Lyft. They have an application that they download called Co-op Ride, and it looks seamless for all riders. And then drivers have a Co-op Drive app that they download, and they're able to upload their documents and get approved, and then they're able to pick fares and pick routes that they want to go to. Some drivers, will want to do scheduled rides, and we're kind of we're looking into working with Accessoride, RTD, some NEMT contracts. We also really want to work with refugees, organizations to try to help transport people to jobs, that kind of stuff, just where you can get away with these surge prices where Uber and Lyft are gouging customers, and that their drivers really aren't getting a whole lot more of that anyway. So we found out that Uber and Lyft are really only paying their drivers about 30–40% of the fare, and we're going to pay our drivers 80% of the fare. Plus, everyone's a co-owner in the company. So once, it'll be a little while before we make profit, but once we do start to turn a profit, those profits come right back to your local community, to Colorado, because we're our own little co-op here, even though we're all kind of using the app. It's kind of like a franchise system. We want to build a federation of driver co-ops all over the globe. We're starting with one or two here, and then we'll expand. But anyone would be able to use use this technology to run their own co-op and manage it how they want to, and have different rules for drivers and stuff like that.
And I can't tell you how excited, because I've been watching Drivers Co-op for a while, and earlier in the year I was even participating in the platform cooperative, and I can't remember who the facilitator was, and I believe the co-founders were involved in that, like during one of the sessions. So and that was back in February. So I'm very excited. What's some of the stuff that's being done? Because one of the things that we love doing, and this is a great example here, this office hours, from a community building standpoint. And just as I was mentioning before we were on the live stream, that one of the reasons that Inglewood is very strategic is that we've identified 3 pilot communities here in Colorado for one of the aspects of this circular economy or alternative ownership enterprises that we're creating. And one of the things, because what we're doing, while we've not had the aspirations of being a platform like an alternative to Uber and Lyft, we were wanting to create even more opportunities through ownership. Because one of the things that I've not acknowledged through my 6 or 7 years of driving is the vehicle that you drive can make a big difference on your profits for a driver. And one of the reasons that we love, when we do our next office hours, so I'm going to go off on a quick tangent here. So Gigs Go Green is a movement for gig workers. And I don't think that we can get the narrative any more simple than that. And this is one of the things that we're really creating with what we're building to reduce the barrier of entry for people to participate in here. Because the thing about gigs is it's really much larger of a scope than this niche of Uber and Lyft drivers. That's the niche that we're specifically targeting, because one of the things that I mentioned in our conversation with Minsung yesterday is a lot of founders operate from what's my exit strategy. And I'm blessed financially where I would rather create something in a very different philosophy that is called an exit to community philosophy. I want to build something here that I can participate in, benefit, and create social impact, and then get something that as it's operating hopefully largely autonomously, then my participation requirements go down substantially. And one of the things that we're really wanting to do is create a model that can also be replicated on a state-by-state basis. Because when you think about solving basic human needs, what we're providing with our model solves transportation, energy, and a better solution for affordable housing with ownership of all of those components. So Gigs Go Green is a movement for gig workers, and how that we're going to really create this synergistic cooperatives model is with what we're calling tri-co-op, as in 3 cooperative, and then STO stands for security token offering. So this is a way that it's our method of raising capital, and we're specifically using regulation crowdfunding. One of the reasons that we love using regulation crowdfunding is that we can have a very low barrier of entry. You don't have to be like an accredited investor with over $1 million of net worth to participate in what we're offering. And we're really anticipating the minimum threshold to be $100 to become an owner. Now, one of the things that we're really going to be having more conversations about is this idea of alternative ownership enterprises. one of the reasons that we love that is, and let me actually just bring this up here real quick in a browser window. And I'll go incognito to google.com. And one of the things that I love here, and let me make this bigger for everybody, is doing an advanced Google search. So let's do one for circular economy. And I also have, and thank you, Tyler, for ordering the Circular Economy Handbook. So let me show you here, circular economy, how many pages that Google has indexed for circular economy. So this number, about 93 million. That's a lot. So that's one of the reasons that we're using circular economy. Most things that I see with the circular economy, and that's also one of the reasons that we're using the recycle logo, because it's or emoji basically, is that it's just a very easy visual thing that we can identify. And the nice thing about with us doing 3 is that, and we haven't even done like this let me see here, position. So and it's just a super basic hashtag, and that's what we're using for like our logo right now. So anyway, what we're looking to do is, so let me go back to this page here, because what I wanted to show is what the opportunity is around this alternative ownership enterprises. And this is also a conversation that I think is worthwhile with having with Drivers Co-op, because one of the things that, and one of the reasons like we do this format that we do, is that this also feels like a content strategy, because this is getting literally right now broadcast on multiple different channels within our own ecosystem, including Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and again on several different channels, because I'm not going to break down why, but so anyway, let's look at this alternative ownership enterprises. 896 results. And transform finance, because when you think about what we're doing, we're basically transforming finance, because like I use Uber and Lyft as great examples of extractive economy, very successful as far as like when you think about what they built. But most of the value was extracted by the venture capitalists that helped bring it to market without any consideration of creating ownership for the drivers. By the time that both Uber and Lyft had launched, I'd already done at least 1,000 rides on each of those platforms, and I got zero opportunity, even as an investor. That's the thing that's so frustrating, is I couldn't even invest in like the offering price. And like another great example that's similar category of gig work is Airbnb. And that's another side hustle that Tyler and I do. So we'll be talking more. And one of the things that's exciting about this alternative ownership enterprises is that Transform Finance just released a report a month ago. And like one of the things, like this is, let me see, I'm going to open up another window. So this is one of the ways that we love Notion here, is the ability. So like we're talking about like an article or a report, or basically a resource, right? So this is a database in Notion where I put worthwhile, stuff that I come across, just more of also, because what I can do is like here we're talking about alternative ownership enterprises. So I can create topics like this is about alternative ownership enterprises, and they're also positioning it from an investor standpoint as mission-oriented investors. So then the other thing that gets fun is that you can also start adding relations with the authors and stuff like that. And it's just a way of grouping the information where you can make better use of it over time and grow like a knowledge base of different stuff. So like I could very easily come over here and like here's visualizing the data on a per project basis. That's another way that I created where we can, because this notion is organizing stuff like, because going back to this try co-op security token offering, let's walk through how that we're going to help gig workers to go green. So the first one is around Tesla Black. As a driver, I know that in order to do the ultra premium rides, the car literally has to be black on black. So if you don't have a black on black car, you can never do the ultra premium rides. In order to do the XL rides, you have to have 7 passengers. So U plus 6. So having a 7 passenger black on black is the only way to check all of the boxes to make the most money. So we're looking to launch this DAO. Have you ever heard of a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization? So we're fans, Amy, myself, and Tyler. We launched back in July of 2021, Retoken, the real estate DAO, because one of the big opportunities that we see is surrounding the tokenization of real estate. So anyway, let's put that on the shelf. So we like I mentioned, I think before we were live here, we've been really exploring, because the way that I like looking at it as a DAO is a cooperative that's technology enabled. And it gives a lot more ways through, like, because when we do this token offering, or these 3 security token offerings, we're basically going to have 3 publicly traded companies. And whether it's going to be publicly traded, probably not. The goal with the offering is to get investors so that we have funds so that we can start putting this engine in place. So with Tesla Black, let's say that we do sell out our offering, 5 billion is how much that you can raise via regulation crowdfunding. So let's break those numbers down. So there's nothing that would make me happier than if all of that offering went primarily to gig workers, because we're really creating this engine to be for the primary benefit of gig workers anyway. So, and what that would look like is, in order for us to sell that out right now on our timeline and our roadmap, we're looking to do our security token offering on February 22nd. 222, we've got history around 222. We actually, on 222, we proclaimed International DAO Day. No, it was 21, no, it had to be 22. 22222, one of the great palindromes of all dates of all time, and that's my inner geek. So and that would, in 2024, that'll have been 2 years ago. So the other thing that's significant about that, and I'm actually wearing a hoodie from ETH Denver that I stole from Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. Is ETH Denver, the largest Ethereum conference in the world, kicks off on February 23rd. So the opportunity for us to do like a security token offering launch party / ETH Denver launch party / DAO Day 2024 is kind of like a big thing that because we like having fun. Like I don't personally want to be involved in anything that I don't consider fun. Like that's one of the reasons that this format exists the way that it does, is because it's fun for me, but we also structure it too. Like, I don't know if I relate to Minsung, but people that participate in these events actually get tokens and that's one of the things that we use as like a proof of participation, proof of contribution. So by you being here, after we help you get a Web3 wallet, Trish, you will get some tokens for participating in this event. So that's one of the ways that we like exposing people to this technology, because this is all really experimental. Like there's not great playbooks for how to operate a decentralized autonomous organization. There's not even solid playbooks surrounding successfully launching a regulation or equity crowdfunding raise. Absolutely. One of the really strong opportunities that we have with collaboration with Drivers Co-op and Gigs Go Green is, so I mentioned 222. We are actually going to be flipping from ourselves a pre-launch phase to a launch phase on 1 month prior to that on January 22nd. So what that's going to look like is on January 22nd, right now we're planning to launch a Kickstarter campaign that we're going to be calling Gigs Go Green, a movement for gig workers, phase 1, launching Tesla Black DAO. So we're positioning this Tesla Black as a member-based community that has an annual membership. During pre-launch, we're wanting it to be a very affordable, low barrier of entry, $69 during pre-launch, and that's for a 1-year membership. And then, so that's between now and January 22nd. And then when our Kickstarter goes live, we're going to raise that up to $97 a year. So, and that's something too that we're going to grandfather that in. So the people that, get in, and one of the things that we'll likely do is the people that are actively participating, they'll just get like an OG membership that's like free for life. So that's one of the things that's very easy for us to do. And we use some really cool technology that doesn't cost us almost anything to create that we own. And that's one of the things, going back to, if I had to summarize Web3 in one word, it's ownership. So one of the things that we're really looking forward to do here is, so we talked about Tesla Black DAO that's got a $69 a year membership. One of the fun things that we're going to be doing, how familiar are you with affiliate marketing? So this is one of the things that's Tyler and I are rabid fans of helping people develop multiple streams of income. So when you think about what is financial freedom, you've really got 2 choices, in my opinion. You can get a big pile of money, whatever that number is, and that's a very personal thing of how big that pile of money needs to be. Or you can develop multiple streams of income. And then, that I think that that's a better path anyway, because one of the things that has been kind of prominent is this FIRE, financial independent, retire early. And a lot of that is do a very drastic lower your monthly expenses, which is a viable strategy, but that can almost be consuming, where people lower their expenses and then they forget how to have fun. And one of the things that I believe is a myth that has been perpetrated across the American people is this idea of around retirement. So my thoughts is, if you're intentional about developing multiple streams of income and you create a life that you love living, what is even retirement?
You're just doing what you love.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I love about driving Uber and Lyft is it's permissionless work. And you right now, I can't remember I think the last time that I did much driving myself was in August, and it was pretty fabulous. There was a big Lyft incentive, and I think I made $1,400 in 30 hours or something, and that's one of the things that I still look from time to time. But so I got off on a tangent. To bring that back to where I was, is one of the things that we're going to really be building education around is content entrepreneur. So have you ever heard those 2 words together? So this is another opportunity. We showed here this tilt with alternative ownership enterprises. So let's look at content entrepreneur. So content entrepreneur. So Joe Paluzzi, my future buddy Joe, is the OG of the content marketing. He was actually the co-founder of Content Marketing Institute that he exited from. And this results, so there's only 48,000. So remember when we did circular economy, 93 million? So this content entrepreneur, and probably the best example that people know about, almost everybody that isn't living under a rock, is YouTube content creators. Those are content entrepreneurs, probably the best and most successful example of content entrepreneurs today. So one of the things, to bring it back to this membership, this Tesla Black membership that we're going to be doing, is that we're building an affiliate program, because we want to also create something that's organically sustainable and scalable as well. So what we're doing is we're creating a 2-tier affiliate program where, like, you as somebody that's like, this is amazing, I want to amplify the effects, I want to become a content entrepreneur. And that's one of the things that we're going to create as a playbook on how to be a content entrepreneur as a gig worker. So let's talk about after we launch, the membership is about $100, right? $97. So with this 2-tier affiliate program, it's going to be 35% on the first tier. So like you're like, man, this is awesome, Yonks, I want to get in. So I refer you, you join the Tesla Black DAO, you put in your $100, you're like, I'm in, $100. And then I'm like, hey, that's awesome. I get 35% of that. I get 35% of that recurring annually because it's an annual membership. So then when you think about like how I would only have to basically refer 3 people and then my membership is paid for. So one of the things that we're wanting to do is create like this dynamic to bring it back to the gigs go green, because I don't know what the demand is, because like let's talk about 5 million. If we wave our magic wand, our security token offering for Tesla Black, 5 million. So just breaking down some numbers, if we paid cash for those cars, I don't think that we'll have to, but if we did, that would allow us to buy 50 cars. And that's about 3.5 million thereabouts. So 50 cars, one of the things that we are going to do, instead of saying, hey, 1 car, 1 driver, we're wanting this to be more of a cooperative situation, because like the legal limit for what a driver can drive a week is 70 hours. So let's do some math again here real quick. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 168 hours in a week. 168 minus 70 equals 98. Plenty of opportunity for gig worker A to get their gig on, be a weekday warrior Monday to Thursday, and then driver B be a weekend warrior. So the way that we're wanting to structure from a cost standpoint to cooperatively participate in this model is we're wanting to create the price point to be a driver owner operator, $200 for that half a week. Now, you get 2 people together, you know, sharing 1 car, they can kind of figure it out if they don't want to necessarily be that. Maybe somebody wants to be like, these guys are crazy and they want to do 7 days a week or something, you know, like somebody wants to do the first 12 hours and somebody do the second 12. You know, 2 grown people can figure it out. It's not like real complicated. So that leaves about $1 million, $1.5 million where we want to become the insurance company as well. So when you start breaking down those numbers, so 50 cars, 100 drivers, so 100 drivers, $200 a week, that's 20 grand a week. You run that out by over a year, that's over $1 million of revenue on a $3.5 million spend. Anybody that's got 3.5 million, they'll do that deal every day, especially with having an asset with the cars. So now we've got the cars, we're creating this new opportunity for these 100 drivers. Well, when the drivers are out driving, guess what? The car's going to run out of charge. So it needs to get plugged in somewhere. So that's the next cooperative in this that we're calling solar EV. So what we're looking to do is take 3 components, the solar panels, the battery to store the energy, and EV charging. So those 3 things together makes a very unique distributed energy resource, because what we did there is we're generating energy, storing it, and distributing it. So in theory, the energy that we're creating on site doesn't even get transmitted through the public grid. So it also, with the battery, creates a lot more resilience for the grid as well, with having distributed like battery storage in case there's like a break in the electric grid or whatever. I don't completely understand all of that. So when you're looking through the lens of a gig worker, there's really 2 scenarios that you need to charge. You're out grinding, especially when you're talking about maybe doing a 16-hour day as a weekend warrior. You're going to run low on charge. Plus you're going to need to stop and get a bite to eat. So we need a place like a parking lot you know, where people can charge, go in, grab a bite to eat, and then come back out, and they're good to go for the rest of the day. And then the last thing that you want to do when you've been out driving, you know, is go sit in a parking lot for another hour at the end of the day. You want to go home, binge some Netflix, kick back a cold one, whatever, right? So that the other opportunity is with like a single family house where we could upgrade that single family house with same components, solar, battery, EV charging. Now imagine that a gig worker could potentially move from a rental situation to this cooperative housing situation. So, and when you think about like whether it's a parking lot or a single family house, the two scenarios that make the most sense, those two things, they're both real estate. So that's the third synergistic cooperative, is that we're looking to create a community land trust that will basically be an engine to support the acquisition of the strategic real estate for this cooperative model. So that's what we're looking to launch via our token offering. And I think the more that we can collaborate, because you know these are the same drivers that will be benefiting in this this cooperative ecosystem functionally.
By using our platform instead of going to Uber and Lyft, the drivers that are using the Tesla, you know, vehicles that you guys have would be able to make more money, plus, you know, all that profits would come back in the local community too. And it's kind of a closed circuit system there as well.
Absolutely. And the way that we're positioning this is really an engine for gig workers to have increasing ownership in all the areas that, you know, they're really touching. So we've got 15 minutes here. It does. One of the things that we're really looking at, and we had some conversations on our working group the other day, is right now we have the opportunity to participate within Polygon. Have you ever heard of Polygon? So have you heard of Ethereum? So Ethereum is the main net, and then Polygon is like an overlay. Is the easiest way to look at it. So what's the benefit? Well, for example, in this, and let me see if let me actually just go to this website real quick. So Joke Race is a component in a timeline, and let me actually go over here real quick. So this is our main space. So we roll everything up to Triple Win Foundation, which is like a nonprofit mothership. Because one of the things that we really, I'm not even going to unpack that right now. So we've got a nonprofit, and then we've got a DAO ecosystem here that we're calling Web3 Freedom Club. And then like Gigs Go Green is really the first project that we're doing through Web3 Freedom Club. So think of it as kind of like an incubator / think tank is a good way to look at Web3 Freedom Club. So where I was going with that, this is a mini project page that created for this Quadratic funding round. And this has got the different details. And the thing that's of most interest is the timeline, because it's a really tight timeline. And I don't know if the Wi-Fi is not great here. This is one of the things that when I was doing on Wednesday, I was at the, do you go to the libraries much around the area? So I was at the Corky Library for Denver right there off of Colfax, just a little, I don't know if you've been to that one. Okay. So the reason that I like that library is that we regularly have a meetup on every other Thursday for the crypto community in Colorado that I've been participating in for a while. So it's literally just up the street. So the opportunity of like doing a more intentional like working group and then going over and having a happy hour beer is kind of the thoughts of, you know, leveraging and strategically building community events. So that's probably something that we'll look at doing for a working group on the 28th of December. And that's one of the things that we're getting better at as far as from a communication standpoint. And I'll get your email, Trish, before we part ways here and get you added to. It's a pretty ad hoc. That's one of the things that like we're so foundational as far as because we like having the conversation about tooling and stuff like that very publicly. And I'm kind of a geek, as you could see, when it comes to the tooling. But anyway, here's the timeline. And I don't know if this is still accurate, but the community contest is the one that I was talking about here, which is literally right around the corner. And what we're really looking to do is to do our own overlay where we can basically gamify and incentivize, because that's one of the things that's really fun about using tokens. Like these social tokens is it's kind of like Play-Doh. We can basically do what we want with it, and within reason. And the more that we do things within reason consistently, then that creates like a track record and stuff like that. So this is Joke Race, and it doesn't have a beautiful UI, but one of the things is that it's a way to basically say, hey, because how that this is being used is Polygon through their so this is 170,000 Matic. I'm not sure what that translates to because number go up, number go down. And what does that look like, Tyler, right now? Do you want to throw that in a calculator somewhere?
170,000 Matic.
Yeah. What's Matic currently trading at?
Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. No. Well, Bitcoin's over 44. I just got a notification on that. Let me pull Matic.
So it looks like Matic, I've got it right here, is
Oh.
at 90 cents. So, whatever calculator, because I'm not great at math, 170,000 times 0.9 is 153,000. So the way that this works is that there's going to be like this contest is going to shortlist projects that will be able to participate in the second phase of this, which is a grant phase. So this is the qualification phase where projects such as ourselves will get shortlisted, and then the other phase is over here where people can donate like Matic. So this is like a public goods type of mechanism to basically where the community gets to determine how the funds get rewarded. So it's a pretty cool way of that. And so we're really looking to create a mechanism that creates awareness about what we're doing. Because like when you think about like, let me go to my timeline here for timeline. So here's the timeline of where we're at. I don't even know. So right here's submit the application. I don't even have the like other relevant dates on this timeline. But that's one of the things that we're going to be working on here, like a lot, like for the next couple of days, because we really need to get like something. And one of the tools that we're looking at, and this is one of the things that I did want to bring up, and I almost forgot. So we've all heard of Forbes, the business magazine, right? So Forbes is very engaged with Web3, and here is the Twitter for Forbes Web3. So they already have 26,000 followers. And one of the things that was interesting is that they're using Galaxy to do a contest. So here's the tweet that Galaxy made for this is a blog post here. So let me actually go to Galaxy. So Galaxy is a platform for doing basically like Web3 growth campaigns. So let me find might have to sign in here. I think I was signed in earlier. I don't know if it matters. Let me see if I can do a search. It might be a link. Check out the campaign details here. So here's the Forbes Web3 campaign, and I'm actually planning on doing a breakout piece of content where I'm going to go through this process myself. So they've got this, because this is something that people, and this is something that I would encourage anybody that's on the call right now to participate in, because the more that you participate in this stuff, you really understand how it works, right? So that's one of the fun things that we love doing is, so here's how you get points within this campaign that they've created. So you get 25 points for checking these boxes, basically, like following. And I've been on Twitter for over a decade. It wasn't until I really started getting into Web3 and crypto did I really start understanding the power of that, because a lot of conversations happen and they happen very, very quickly. And like with Twitter Spaces, the social audio component is also very, very interesting, where you can hop onto conversations with thought leaders. So like these are the steps. So this is something like where we could do a similar type of dynamic with Gigs Go Green to demonstrate traction. Because one of the things, and I'm gonna bring it back real quick to our office hours. So this is our let me get to our agenda here. Maybe. Oh, Windows stop collapsing on me. So this is the office hours for CEIP, and you can't really see it because it's but there's a American made challenges. CEIP and is the Community Energy Innovation Prize. So the three of us, we've submitted multiple projects in the past. We actually have submitted several around this solar EV narrative, just the energy piece previously, that we should get some determination and some feedback on. As we've been going through this process of, and it's basically like the US Department of Energy uses HeroX.com, and they have for years. Like we submitted a project back in 2021 around this narrative for Token Town, the HOA destroyer. So when you think about a community framework that doesn't, in my opinion, serve the community members well, the HOA is one of the top of the list as far as a community framework that's primarily for the benefit of the developer and the municipality so that they can get this prefabricated community launched. And it's been a very popular tool that developers have been using for decades for creating a repeatable model. But the problem is that the legalese surrounding HOAs is so insurmountable for a lot of communities to really coalesce around, because most HOAs don't have that much community. It's this invisible boundary that got created through the developer to build their neighborhood. So one of the things that we're really wanting to do is, like, that's just one example. I'm not even going to unpack that, but that was the Solar Prize round 5. We submitted Solar EV here in September for round 7. And then right now we're working on this Community Energy Innovation Prize. One of the things that came up with our conversation with Minsung yesterday is that there's a really strong opportunity. Let me go ahead and open this up. So HeroX.com/CPP with 3 Ps, which stands for the Center for Purpose and Performance. So submit a proposal that is firmly rooted in existing empirical research while also charting new trajectories. So one of the things that we're like, to go back to Tesla Black, we're positioning Tesla Black as the most profitable community for gig workers. That's like the tagline. One of the things that we're going to do to deliver value is have like mastermind types of conversations and different things. Like one of the narratives that we're wanting to create for drivers is around this Gigs Go Green movement, where instead of a tip, GoFundMe. Here's my GoFundMe page. And then because like the opportunity to evolve the narrative over time, because like people that are just entering our ecosystem, like Min Sung mentioned that there's over 1,000 drivers that have said, hey, I want to be a part of this driver cooperative. So like we're talking about acquiring 50 Teslas. My belief is that once we really turn this on, that there's going to be a lot more demand for people that want to have access to a Tesla to drive, because you just make way more money. That's the bottom line. And I know that because I drive one. And I mean, I can normally make 30 to 40 bucks an hour when I'm driving pretty much 24/7. And that's one of the things too that we really want to amplify through numbers. So talking about empirical research, like one of the things I like operating through the lens of a funnel. How can we bring people into what we're creating? So like thinking about a way to do that is like with the Facebook quiz, where we could say like gigs go green. Hey, did you know it's actually more profitable to drive an electric vehicle as a gig worker? Or just however we wanted those questions to look like. And then one of the goals after they answer the quiz would be to participate in a Gigs Go Green webinar, where one of the goals of that webinar would be either to onboard them into the Gigs Go Green, like join the movement, or if they really saw the value proposition, join the Tesla Black DAO at that membership. And when you think about like the way that we're wanting to structure this, like me, remember, this is a model that I'm building for myself to participate in. Like, so when you think about that economic incentive that I talked about with this affiliate commission, I get a pipeline of people joining a webinar, and then, I convert some of those people to join. For every person that I get to join that webinar, I get a $35 affiliate commission. So that's one of the things that we're also wanting to teach, besides like the GoFundMe, where a driver could turn a passenger into social proof. And my thoughts is that like if somebody is maybe thinking of tipping $5, there may be somebody that really buys into this narrative. Instead of like $5, they'll go fund maybe 20 bucks, for example. I could very easily see that happening. And when you talk about giving 100 rides a week or 60 to 100, it's just a numbers game at that time. So that's one of the things that we're really looking to finalize from a narrative and a workflow standpoint. And then, because the thing that's fabulous about that sort of thing, like empowering a gig worker to create a GoFundMe, we're talking about a low cost to do that. And that's funds that would go right back to that gig worker that they could potentially use. Like maybe the dynamic is so high that we're like, in order to participate as an owner operator, it's like a $500, $1,000, deposit or whatever, because we might have too many people that, and that might be a way to reduce that. Or like with people that are going through this GoFundMe process, that would be an easy way that they could like, reinvest into their own business and stuff like that. So I know that that's a lot, Trish.
That's so fascinating. I'm really excited about all this stuff.
So the Center for Purpose and Performance is, I think, a very strong opportunity that we have not yet decided on if we're going to participate in. I'm really hoping that somebody raises their hand and say, hey, I want to be the leader of that effort. And that's kind of the direction that going in with some people right now. But I think that would be another strong opportunity where through methodologies, which is the person that sponsored this is at betterup.com. And that's one of the things that like I've been having conversations with Tyler about coaching, and like that's one of the things that they have a coaching framework to help people like become a coach. And like when you think about basically what we would be doing if we were facilitating like a mastermind group or whatever, that would be some type of co-coaching situation, right? So anyway, I want to be respectful. We're already 4 minutes past the hour here, and I don't know how much that these guys at the library. That's the nice thing, though, I think, about a $10 cost is that's absolutely reasonable. but it's more than free because like the Denver library has a free dynamic, and I would rather pay $10 and have the availability when I want a room than it be booked weeks out because it's free. So anyway, that's one of the things. And the reason that Inglewood is strategic is because like when we talk about like this parking lot, that project is one like to deploy these distributed energy resources. We're really expecting that to be like a $5 to $15 million project on its own. So like there's different economic incentives where a lot of that initial capital investment can come back through tax credits. And that's one of the reasons that we're looking at Inglewood, Boulder, and Welby. And Welby's potentially at the top of the list. Boulder, just from a cultural standpoint, is very high as well. So and a lot of that will just depend too on what kind of support that we get from locally. Like Boulder, for example, has more politics than Welby. Welby's an unincorporated community, so you don't have a city layer of politics in Welby. You've just got the county. I can only imagine that Adams would be like, we would love you to do stuff in Welby, right? So anyway, any thoughts, anybody online or from you before we bring this to a close?
I'm here for all this. Yeah, yeah. That's, we want to really empower community owners as well. We've got how to use systems that are co-op or how to get ways for people.
Nice.
That helps people build more ownership.
And I think that that's probably the biggest opportunity, I think, to just be really fun. Because one of the things that I can identify with is that there's not a lot of strong community around gig workers for community events. And like a lot of conversations happen on Facebook. I don't even know what TikTok looks like because that's a platform that I've still avoided thus far. But I can't really spend that much time on Facebook because my experience is most of the time it's cesspool conversations, especially around gig work. So one of the, we love hosting meetups. That's one of the things that I'm actually planning to amplify from our perspective is that planning on creating a new meetup.com group, Gigs Go Green with Tesla Black of Colorado. And that's really probably what the meetup group is gonna be named. Because I think that that's probably the clearest way. And we've even been doing, let me, since I'm still sharing my screen here. I wasn't looking if anybody had anything on the Zoom there. I think Tyler already dropped off. Did you have anything, Amy?
I don't know if you're calling me up, but I'm in driving outskirts of the city, and I don't know how good my reception is.
Fair enough. No, we were just about ready to bring the live stream to a close here. We're already 8 minutes past the hour, and I only did reserve this room. Obviously, there's not somebody knocking at the door kicking me out yet, but I don't want to burn any bridges at the community library here in Inglewood because I think that this is a space.
If you can hear me loud and clear, I want to welcome Trish. Thank you, and I really like the program that you have. Thank you.
All righty, thanks, Amy. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and end the meeting, and we've got a collaborative tools experimentation call that I haven't scheduled yet, but Christian, this is something that him and I were talking about that we're going to do tomorrow at noon. And so if there's any collaborative tools that you've been wanting to explore, this is the time. Just going to roll up our sleeves and allocate a half an hour for just collaborative tools exploration. Like the whiteboards functionality is one of the newer features that's built into Zoom natively. That's the main thing that we're going to look at using. If I get the time between now and tomorrow, I might get Figma in place. That's where I'm wanting to do some entity diagramming with what we're building here. But I'm going to go ahead, end this meeting and call it a wrap for today. Thanks, everybody.